Another week of meals starts with breakfast. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. So this week of meals, we're going to start with breakfast. We have a snowstorm that came in very early this morning and it's going to snow for the next 24 hours. I don't have to work today. That's great. Wonderful. We're going to make breakfast. So I took out one of our already made biscuits out of the oven. I have some local bacon. I got this bacon from the lady I get my milk and my eggs from. It's just a 0.93 pounds. It was very expensive. I do not spend that much money on bacon, but I wanted to try it because I'm thinking in the future I want to have a pig butchered and possibly getting a portion of a cow, but I need to stop buying things for the freezer so I can eat my freezer down so I can have room. That being said, let's make breakfast. I have the oven preheating to 350 degrees. I want to get a nice liberal amount of butter in this cast iron skillet. It takes about 40 minutes to cook my homemade biscuits from frozen to the table. So this is the first thing I want to do. Let's get the biscuits in the oven. Gotta play a little Jenga to get everything in here, but we could do this. All right, looks like I can only get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Perfect. In a 350 degree oven, 40 minutes. I got another cast iron skillet on the stovetop heating up. I'm gonna go ahead and cook this whole, almost a pound of bacon. Oh, it smells very smoky, very peppery. It is very pretty bacon. So I'm just going to cook the bacon on the stovetop, and then we're just going to scramble some eggs, and that's what we're having for breakfast. Now, I usually cook my bacon in the oven when I'm cooking a big quantity amount, but I figured I'll just go ahead and cook this on the stovetop. It'd make it a lot easier. So I'm just going to cook it about 5 or so minutes on one side, flip them, cook them another 5 or so minutes. We like our bacon crispy, so I'm going to cook it until it's nice and crispy. I get my eggs from a local farm, but I just want you to see, who needs to dye eggs for Easter when you can get eggs in these beautiful colors? I do crack them into one bowl, and then I add it to the bulk container. That way, if there's any bad eggs, I'm not contaminating the whole bunch. Add a pinch of pepper, a pinch of salt, and just about a tablespoon of water. Now, if you like your scrambled eggs light and fluffy, just add a tablespoon of water to the eggs, whisk that in, and as that water heats up in the pan, it causes steam pockets and it allows your eggs to get nice, soft, and fluffy. Got the biscuits in the oven. They still have 31 minutes left. go ahead and flip our bacon. Oh, beautiful. Once the bacon's done, we can start our eggs, and breakfast should be very close to being ready. Biscuits have 10 minutes left. I'm using the same cast iron skillet. I removed the bacon fat. I wiped it down with a paper towel. I'm going to add just a little bit more bacon fat right in here. And we want to get this skillet steaming hot. And here's our eggs with a little bit of water, salt and pepper. And you know when your pan is hot, when you can start seeing the fat in it start moving around. I think we are ready. Now to make the perfect scrambled egg, you don't sit there and stir it. You slowly move it from the outside in, and you can start seeing the egg curds. And just continually going around the pan, moving everything to the center. And you can see the little burnt bits in there. That is nothing but flavor for where we cook the bacon in this cast iron skillet. I'm going to turn the burner off because we are cooking in a cast iron skillet. The skillet will retain heat and finish cooking these eggs with no flame underneath. And that is perfect. And a little bit of hot water and a steel wool pad, this skillet will come out clean, perfectly fine. The biscuits took 35 minutes, not the whole 40. Put a little bit of butter in it. We've got some bacon and some eggs. So this breakfast came together in 35 minutes. The length of time it took to cook our homemade frozen biscuits. We cooked the bacon, we scrambled the eggs, assembled a plate, and now we're going to eat. So this is the first meal this week. We got big plans for dinner tonight. Can't wait to bring you back and share that with you. Very good. Well, it's time to cook dinner. And we're going to make General Tso's chicken over rice. This is a recipe I found when the husband and I was watching American's Test Kitchen with a father and son team called Hunger Pangs. Pangs. That's their last name. I'll leave a link in the description below of that video if you want to go check it out. That's what we're having for dinner. I like trying new recipes with things I have and have to buy just a little bit of things to make it work. So I did have to go by the store and pick up some hoisin sauce and a little thing of fresh ginger. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the marinade and the sauce for the General Tso's chicken, and then we're going to prepare the chicken, and then we're going to fry it. Come on a little closer and let me show you how we're going to do this. So the first thing we need is a quarter cup of white vinegar, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. I use coconut aminos. Use whatever you have on hand. We need a half a cup of hoisin sauce. One and a half cups of water. We're going to whisk that till that cornstarch has dissolved. We're going to set that aside. I have a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. That's what we're going to use to marinate our meat in. I have 4 pieces of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Now you can buy it already boneless, skinless. I have videos, if I can find one, I'll leave it in the description below, on how to buy bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs and prepare it yourself. Saves you a lot of money if you do it that way. We want to cut these into 1-inch pieces. You can use chicken breast if you like, but I find the chicken thighs to be a whole lot more flavor than chicken breast. All right, we're going to put our chicken thighs in our Ziploc bag. Let me wash my hands. Back to our sauce. We need 6 tablespoons of our sauce to go in with our chicken. Make sure all that chicken is getting coated with that marinade. This needs to go into the refrigerator for 30 minutes. And we need to take out 2 cups and we have plans for the little bit that's left. We're going to put this on the stove and reduce it. So I don't have a wok, so we're just going to use a very small saucepan. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of avocado oil because it's a neutral flavoring oil. It doesn't have anything that carries over. We're going to let that heat up. Then we're going to need 6 garlic cloves that have been minced. I have a couple of our frozen garlics. And some minced ginger, 2 tablespoons, so it's probably perfect. We just want to cook that until we can smell the aroma of the garlic and the ginger. Perfect, 1 minute. Now we're going to add our 2 cups of the marinade. I'm going to turn it down to a medium-low. And we just want to cook that until it thickens and turns into a dark brown glossy color. That's probably going to take about a minute or 2. Oh, family, that is so good. I think we are there. Turn the burner off. I'm just going to set this aside. In this saucepan, I have some coconut oil. I'm going to turn that on a medium-low. Let that slowly melt while we prepare everything else. So in this cake pan, I have 1.5 cups of cornstarch, a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. We'll whisk that together. And now we're going to add the remaining of the marinade. They said it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's not going to be. All right, that looks good. And in here we have 3 egg whites. We need to beat that until it's foamy. They were kind of small eggs. If I need to add another egg, that'd be fine. We'll do that. We're going to go ahead and get our chicken out of the refrigerator. And we want to pat them dry just a bit. Okay, perfect. So we're going to put the chicken in the egg whites. And then we're going to dump it into the cornstarch mixture. And then we want to pat it on there. Make sure it's a good coating. And this was about 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. So I have some coconut oil melted. I'm just heating it up. I do not have a thermometer to get it to check its temperature, see if it's 350 degrees. We're going to guess. So it says once it reaches 350 degrees, we can cook our thighs for about 4 minutes. If you're using breasts, it'll take about 3 minutes. It's starting to shimmer. Let's do the water test. Not quite there yet. All right, let's check and see. No, I think we could have let it heat. No, I think we're ready. So I'm going to put about 1/3 of this chicken in here. Don't want to overcrowd the pan. Maybe 1/4. I think I'll do 1/4. That looks good. We're going to cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to try to turn them, cook it for another minute or 2, and then it should be ready. I have a plate with a piece of paper towel over here waiting for us. So this is the last bit of the chicken. I'm just going to turn them, let them cook another 2 or 3 minutes until they're nice and golden brown. Perfect. We're going to take that out of the oil. I'm going to move this out of my way. I have the large saucepan. I'm going to dump the General Tso's chicken sauce in here. I should have started off in here, but that's okay. Y'all know how much I love washing dishes. Just going to heat that up a bit, and then we're going to add our chicken, and then dinner will be ready. You can see all the garlic and the ginger in there. Family, that is beautiful. Just want to get it to a slight simmer. All right, we got it up to a slight simmer. Let's put our chicken. Just going to give that a slight toss. Get everything coated in that sauce. Oh, family, I wish you were here. This smells so good. Perfect. The rice I just cooked in the Instant Pot. 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water. A little bit of salt and pepper. Use the rice setting. Let it natural release. And some of our chicken right on top with that sauce. Oh, family, this looks delicious. Now, the husband and I, we do not eat out, especially when we're at home. If we're on vacation and we're traveling to go to a vacation spot, we might stop and get something to eat on the way. But we eat at home 100% of our meals. So I cannot compare this to Chinese takeout because I haven't had Chinese takeout in probably 10, 20 years. I'm not even sure. But we're going to try it and see if it's good. It's not hot. It's not really overly sweet. Get the ginger, you get that garlic. This is pretty good. I'd probably make this again. This is actually really good. I think we have enough for us to have for dinner tonight. Not sure how well it's going to do for leftovers, but we'll eat it anyway. We'll have lunch tomorrow. Can't wait to bring you back in the kitchen and we'll make another delicious meal. That's a keeper. Well, it's time to cook dinner again. Today we're going to have ravioli and an Alfredo sauce. So I count out 36 pieces of our homemade frozen raviolis. If you want to know how I make the raviolis, I'm going to leave a link in the description below showing how we made our own homemade raviolis that we can have in the freezer when we're ready for a ravioli. But we're going to use an Alfredo sauce. So I took a pint of heavy cream out of the freezer, package of our home grated Parmesan cheese, and I have almost a whole pound of sausage. It's a 0.98, so it's almost a pound. I got this sausage the same time I picked up the bacon from the lady I get my milk and eggs from, but I'm not going to use this whole thing. I only need about a half a pound. That's why when I make homemade sausage, I freeze them in half-pound increments because just the husband and I were empty nesters, and half a pound is perfect for a meal. But I'm going to save the other half for breakfast tomorrow. We can have sausage and gravy. If you saw last week's video on Sweet Thursday, we made sourdough bread 3 ways. This is the tomatoes, jalapenos, and mozzarella bread. I'm going to turn this into garlic bread so we can have it with our ravioli. So I'm just going to cut this sausage in half. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator till tomorrow so we can have biscuits and gravy. But the other half we're going to go ahead and cook on the stove. So I have the pasta pot on the stovetop. I'm going to turn it on medium heat. Let this heat up. Everything is going to be cooked in this pot, but we're going to cook it in stages. So I'm going to cook the sausage, remove that, fill it with water, and then we'll cook the pasta, strain that, then we can make our Alfredo sauce. Just drizzle a little bit of avocado oil in here. And I'm just going to brown that sausage until it's done. So I have the sausage cooked. I put it in a bowl. Didn't even bother washing this pot out. Filled it up with water. We're going to let that come to a boil, and then we're going to cook the raviolis. So while we're waiting for the water to boil, I have the oven preheating 350 degrees, waiting for us to get the garlic bread ready. So I do want to spread some butter on the bread. This bread turned out so good, family. I hope you go back and watch that video and make a bread either exactly like this or use any kind of add-ins you want. This is what we had on hand, the tomatoes, the jalapenos, and that mozzarella. Because you don't have to have boring bread with your meals. Sourdough is so easy to make. It's so forgiving. I know I'm enjoying it. So I have some garlic powder. I just want to sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder on that. Not too much. I might have went heavy on that first one, but that's okay. A half of a teaspoon. And I do like to add just a pinch of pepper. There we go. We're just going to leave it right here until we're ready to put that in the oven. I do want to salt the pasta water because that's the best time to add seasoning to your pasta is when you're boiling it. Once that comes to a boil, we'll add the raviolis. And we're just going to cook those until they're almost done because I wanted to finish cooking in the sauce. We do need to make it so that the pasta part is cooked. Okay, our water came up to a boil. Let's go ahead and drop in the pasta. The delicious homemade ravioli. I'm only going to cook it about like maybe 8 minutes. I don't want them to stick together, so I'm just giving them a little stir. Not aggressively, just toss them around a little bit to make sure they're not sticking together. Okay, 8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and put this in a strainer in the sink. Same pot, medium heat, 2 tablespoons of butter. We do not need to make a roux because the pasta has enough starch. It will thicken up our Alfredo sauce. A pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, and about a tablespoon of olive oil. I like the flavor of the olive oil and the butter when I make Alfredo. A pint of heavy cream. Still a little frozen, but that is okay. Make sure we get all the goodness out of this jar. I don't want to waste any of it. And I just want to heat this through before I add the cheese and the sausage back in here. I'm going to add a teaspoon of garlic powder. Now, if you don't like garlic powder or onion powder, leave it out. That is the thing about cooking from scratch. You can make it to fit your family. Now, if your family likes spinach or broccoli, you can add that to your sauce. My husband doesn't care for either one of those. And I did think about roasting a bag of broccoli just so I can have it, but I don't feel like digging through the freezer. So I have one of our 1 cup measure of home grated Parmesan cheese. I'm just going to heat that up until the cheese melts. We'll taste it for any salt or pepper, and then we can add our sausage and the raviolis back in here. Okay, it needs a little bit of salt and just a small pinch of pepper. The garlic powder is perfect. Put our sausage back in and the cooked ravioli. I'm going to turn that down to a medium-low just so everything can heat up. All the flavors can mellow out together. Put the lid on. And we're going to add our garlic bread in the oven. Let that toast for about 5 or 10 minutes. And by that time, the raviolis will be ready and we can have dinner. While we're waiting on dinner, I want to ask you a question. Do you find getting in the kitchen and cooking from scratch overwhelming? Like, what do I do? Where do I start? How do I do this? Or is it something like convenient food, pre-boxed food is easier? Or some people I know, it's the dishes that accumulate. Washing dishes while you're cooking, washing dishes after you cook, washing dishes before you get into the kitchen to cook. It's constantly washing dishes. Now, I used to be, when my kids were little, I felt like I was always washing dishes. Well, it's the husband and I'm still always washing dishes. But for some reason, when my kids were little, I was resentful of washing dishes. And it wasn't until after they've moved out and started their own family and telling me how much dishes they have to wash that my mindset changed. And I wish it would have changed when my kids were little and not waited till they had kids. But my mindset has changed that it's not being resentful that I'm always washing dishes. I'm trying to be more thankful I get the opportunity to wash the dishes because I know that my husband and myself, we're eating homemade, healthy, nutrient-dense food every time I have to wash dishes. Now, whether you're using a pre-boxed dinner or something that was already cooked and in the freezer and all you had to do was heat it up, guess what, family? You're still washing dishes. It doesn't matter. When you're cooking from scratch, it does take more dishes because when you're breading chicken, that's an extra dish for the flour and the eggs. If you're making the dinner we're making right now, the ravioli with the sausage and the Alfredo sauce, it's extra dishes because I used a bowl to store the sausage. I used a strainer to strain the raviolis. I have the jar from having the heavy cream in the freezer. There are more dishes. I know my family is eating something that I made, homemade, from scratch, that will feed our bodies and not poison it. So if you feel like you're resentful of all the dishes you have to wash because you're cooking from scratch or trying to get in the habit of cooking from scratch, change your mindset and be thankful you can wash dishes, knowing you're feeding your family a healthy meal. If that makes any sense to you, please let me know. Please. Because we have to change our minds, the way we think of things we do and why we do them. Please, let me know if that makes any sense to you. I'm going to turn the stove off because that ravioli is hot enough. The bread is almost ready. Let's go ahead and transfer this to a bowl. Oh, family. If I had some green in it, it'd be even prettier, but that's okay. Oh, that smells so good. Let's check on our bread. Oh yeah, nice and toasty. Check it out, family. Oven off. The husband's not home yet, so we're not ready to eat dinner, but I do want to sample this with you guys. And a piece of bread. Find the perfect bite with a piece of ravioli, some sausage, and some of that delicious Alfredo sauce. The pasta is cooked perfect. It's a little al dente, which means it has a little chew. Oh, so good. And our bread, which is sourdough bread with roasted tomatoes, jalapenos, and homemade mozzarella cheese, with butter and garlic powder and just a pinch of pepper. That's really good. So when the husband comes home, within about 10-15 minutes, we're going to sit down and have dinner. Can't wait to bring you back in the kitchen. Y'all have seen me make sausage gravy and biscuits 100 times. Those have been around for a while know that's my husband's favorite breakfast food. He will eat that 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. He doesn't care. Guess what? I'm bringing you along for it anyway. For those who are new, we make homemade sausage, but we are using sausage that was from a local farm this time. And we use local raw cow milk, and we make our own homemade frozen biscuits. We use that for sausage and gravy. So I'll see y'all in the morning. We're going to make the husband's favorite breakfast. Who's ready for breakfast? I know we are. So from the other day where we made the bacon, eggs, and biscuits, I have 6 biscuits left. We are going to use those today, but I do need to get just a few more in the oven. So I got some butter. As usual, we're going to start off with putting butter in a cast iron skillet. These are some homemade frozen biscuits. Put that in a 350-degree oven. Last time it took 35 minutes, so it's anywhere between 35 and 40 minutes. Got another cast iron skillet, medium heat, and let that warm up. So when the biscuits are about 25 minutes into cooking, I'm going to add these 6 into the same pan to warm them up. This is the leftover sausage from dinner last night. We made the Ravioli Sausage Alfredo. This is almost a half a pound. But first I need to warm this skillet up so that it's ready to receive that sausage. So the sausage is cooked. Now we need to make a roux. 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to turn it just down just a little bit towards the low, but still closer to the medium. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. A pinch of pepper. I'm not going to add salt because there's a lot of salt in sausage. I want to taste it first to see if we need to add any salt. We're going to cook that flour for about 1 minute. And we're going to slowly add in 2 cups of milk. And as that milk heats up, it'll activate the roux, the flour, and the butter, and it will thicken up. Biscuits are still in the oven. We have about 16 more minutes before I can add the already cooked biscuits. We do want to come in here and scrape the bottom of this pan just to make sure we're not having any burnt bits. Milk will scorch really easy. If it's too thick, we can always add more milk. If it's too thin and we want to thicken it up, we can make a cornstarch slurry. It's just equal parts cornstarch and water. Mix that together and then we can put it in there and it'll thicken up beautiful. The best rule of thumb to making gravy is called a 1-1-1. 1 tablespoon of fat, and you can use any kind of fat you want. Butter, lard, tallow, bacon grease, oil, whatever you want to use. And then you use a tablespoon of flour. Mix that together, cook it for 1 minute. Then you add 1 cup of liquid, and that could be water, milk, broth, whatever kind of gravy you're looking for. And if you need to double it, it's 2-2-2. 2 tablespoons of fat, 2 tablespoons of flour, 2 cups of a liquid. Making homemade gravy is super easy if you know the formula. 1-1-1. 1 tablespoon of fat, 1 tablespoon of flour, and 1 cup of liquid. It's starting to thicken up. That roux is doing its job. I'm just going to add about a half a cup more of milk just to thin it out some. I'm going to turn that down to low because we're still waiting on the biscuits. The biscuits are almost ready. Okay, I think that's all I could get in there. Maybe I can get this little one in there. Let's see. Nope. Alright, so I have 3 of the old biscuits in here, plus the new biscuits back in the oven. So the biscuits are done. Look how beautiful they are. I am really enjoying having already made frozen biscuits. It makes getting up in the morning and making a healthy, delicious breakfast so much easier. I do like a little extra butter on my biscuits. And the sausage gravy. So this is what we're going to have for breakfast. Biscuits and sausage gravy came together super fast. Took longer to cook the biscuits than it did to make the gravy. So while the biscuits cooking, we made the gravy, and now we're able to sit down and have breakfast. Today for lunch, we're going to have the leftover ravioli with the sausage Alfredo sauce. Right over here, I have a pack of chicken I took out of the freezer. I think I know what I'm going to do for dinner tonight, but don't worry, I'll bring you back when we're ready to cook dinner. I'll see y'all in a couple hours. So dinner kind of got a little switched up tonight. The chicken I took out of the freezer early this morning, I have it in the refrigerator. I have up to 5 days to use that raw chicken. Don't worry, we're not going to waste it. The last time I bought a whole chicken and I cut them up, I always save my wings and put those together. So I have 4 chickens worth of wings in this pot with some water. I'm going to add a good pinch of salt. I'm going to put this on the stovetop. And I'm going to parboil them because later tonight we're going to have wings and breadsticks. I'm going to go ahead and make a double batch of our homemade pizza dough that I'm going to turn into breadsticks tonight. And I'm just going to do this in the bowl and not in the mixer. So I have 1.5 cups of warm water. I put in the microwave for 30 seconds. I need 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of yeast, 4 cups of flour, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and 2 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to hand knead it until it all comes together. I'm going to divide it into 2. I have 2 of our Ziploc bags. Keep these in the freezer in between use when I'm making pizzas. They already have oil in them. And because I store them in the freezer, they're not bad. They haven't gone rancid. I just keep them in there in between use. These are my pizza dough proofing bags. I'm just going to put this in the refrigerator, let them proof, and then later tonight we can make breadsticks to go with our wings. And I keep the Ziploc bag with my yeast in this reusable Ziploc bag, and I also keep this in the freezer. That way it will not go bad, and I always have fresh, ready to go yeast when I'm ready. So I'm going to go ahead and get breakfast dishes washed, and then as soon as those wings have been par cooked, I'll drain that, but we'll put that in the refrigerator until tonight. We're going to have just hot wings or barbecue wings or whatever the husband decides he wants. Let me get these dishes done. So once the chicken came up to a boil on the stove, I turn it off. I have it in a strainer over a bowl. Once these cool off, I'll stick them in the refrigerator until we're ready to cook them tonight with the pizza dough we just made for the breadsticks. So I will see y'all tonight. We're going to have wings and breadsticks. Well, I just got home from work. Now we're going to go ahead and make dinner. So here's one of our pizza doughs that we made earlier today, plus the wings. I need to get everything in the oven. We decided we're going to do hot sauce or buffalo style wings, so I need to make the sauce to go with that also while everything is in the oven. I think that looks good. We'll put a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to have some garlic powder. I'm going to smear that around just a bit. There we go. And some mozzarella cheese. And on the other half, I'm going to lay the wings down. And I'm going to put the breadsticks and the wings in the oven. It's probably going to take about 30 minutes, but we'll keep an eye on that. In this saucepan, we'll put about a tablespoon of butter. And then I got some Frank's Red Hot. It's probably about a cup in here. I'm just going to go ahead and dump it, just a half a cup. So a half a cup of Frank's Red Hot. We're just going to heat that up, let the butter melt, and see if we can get that to thicken up just a bit. So they've been in the oven for 15 minutes. I do want to go ahead and start painting some hot sauce on the wings. I'm going to go ahead and flip them and paint the other side. I'm going to put these back in the oven. Breadsticks aren't quite ready yet. I'm going to go ahead and remove the rest of the hot sauce. And I have one of our jars of homemade pizza sauce. We made this together back in October. Put that in the same pot. Not even going to worry about washing it. And this is for the breadsticks to get dunked in. Just some sauce to have on the side. And I just want to heat that up while the wings and the breadsticks are finished cooking, and then dinner will be ready. Dinner should be ready in about 10 more minutes. And just like that, 30 minutes, dinner is ready. I do want to cut the breadsticks. And some of their heated up pizza sauce. Who needs to order delivery when you can make a delicious fast food restaurant style meal right at home? Now we did do a lot of the work this morning. We par cooked the chicken wings. We made the dough for the breadsticks. Took cheese out of the freezer. But now we're ready to eat. Breadsticks are perfectly cooked. And if I had some blue cheese, I would have had blue cheese. Could have made some homemade ranch. Just didn't feel like doing it. But that's okay. And our buffalo wings. Right amount of heat. Oh, that is so good. In the description below, I'm going to have a link to the video of us making that pizza sauce, putting it in jars, sticking it on the shelves. I have all the recipes from this week in the order that the recipes were cooked. I'll give you any links to anything that we did. The ravioli video will be in the description. Also, when we made the biscuits and stuck those in the freezer. So make sure you check the description below. All the information to this video will be there. If you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up. While you're at it, please subscribe. I would love to have you part of the Grammy family. In this kitchen, we take the things we like, things we love to eat, and turn it into a homemade, from scratch meal. So until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Bye, family. And I know the husband is happy.